the governor of our state can settle down to the serious business of government.
Election of Governor Boyega Oyetola of Osun State. President Buhari assents to 3 bills passed by the National Assembly.
Nigeria being a big player on the African continent, whatever decisions they take is a decision that will reverberate across the continent.
Plus, new lease of life for Africa with Nigeria's endorsement of the Continental Free Trade Agreement as 12th ordinary session of Free Trade Initiative holds in Niamey, Niger Republic. Good evening and welcome to the Network News on the NTA. I am Juma Yusuf. Reading with me tonight from Lagos is Jennifer Igwe. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has upheld the election of Boyega Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress as the governor of Osun State. The court, in a majority decision of 5-2 justices, dismissed by a split decision the appeal filed by People's Democratic Party's Ademola Adeleke against the election of Oyetola. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okeyu reports.
The judgment of the 7 members led by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, affirmed the election of Boyega Oyetola as the governor of Osun State following the September 2018. The judgment of the Apex Court on all the 4 appeals followed the same pattern, and this has been the trend of the case from the tribunal to the Supreme Court. 5 justices of the Apex Court affirmed the majority judgment of the Court of Appeal, which was delivered on the 9th of May. 2 others differed. The lead majority judgment was delivered by Justice Bode Rhodes-Vivo, with Justices Muhammad Kudirat Kekereekun, Amiru Sanusi, and Uwane Abba Aji consenting, while Justices Kume Akas and Paul Galinje dissented.
On our part, we're happy. We thank God for this victory. Now the governor of our state can settle down to the serious business of government.
My majority decision, aside from the issue of technicality, went straight into the merit of the case, and they said that the appellant has fulfilled constitutional requirement on the 22nd of September when the election was first conducted.
This judgment effectively ends the 2018 governorship election of Osun State. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a congratulatory message to Governor Boyega Oyetola of Osun State on the Supreme Court ruling, which affirmed his victory in the September 2018 state governorship election. The Supreme Court decision, according to the president, lays to rest the tussle over the governorship election and removes all encumbrances on the part of the governor from fully delivering the gains of democracy to the people of the state. In a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the president commends the government and people of Osun for allowing the rule of law to run its entire course. He therefore urges Governor Oyetola and the ruling All Progressives Congress to be magnanimous in victory and make concrete moves towards inclusive governance. Following the Supreme Court judgment, the Osun State Governor Boyega Oyetola is calling on the people of the state to remain calm and peaceful. He says the judgment is victory for the people. Correspondent Femi Afariagun reports.
Triumphantly, Governor Oyetola moved around major streets in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, thanking the people for their show of love. Traffic was at a standstill as supporters of the APC joined the governor's procession chanting victory songs. The governor has dedicated the Supreme Court judgment to the people of the state.
I feel a crowd that believes that the judiciary has done the best in terms of reaffirming the mandates they gave to me. I will continue to dedicate myself to the service of the people. The love they have shown clearly demonstrates the fact that I must put in more effort to ensure that I give them the dividend of democracy.
He is, however, extending hands of friendship to the People's Democratic Party to build a viable state for the people. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Reactions continue to trail the Supreme Court ruling on the Osun State governorship election. Elizabeth Omori compiles these reactions.
Congress, APC welcomed the ruling of the Supreme Court, affirming the election of Gboyega Oyetola as the governor of Osun State. National Publicity Secretary Lanre Issa Onilu will cement the majority status of progressive governors in the country. The party congratulates Governor Oyetola, the people of Osun State, and the state APC for successfully defending its legitimate mandate. In the same vein, the President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, congratulated the governor over his victory at the Supreme Court, urging him to be magnanimous in victory and run an all-inclusive government for the good of the state. The statement by his special assistant on media and publicity describes the judgment as victory for democracy. The PDP has similarly reacted to the judgment, urging its supporters to remain calm and united and not to lose hope in the nation's democratic process. A statement by its National Publicity Secretary, however, raised eyebrows over the basis upon which the judgment was made. In the meantime, the Presidency has faulted the statement credited to the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. Asking the judiciary to take the pulse of the nation and reflect on it is an attempt to browbeat the judiciary and encouraging it to entertain sentiments in the ongoing petition before the Presidential Election Petition Court. Femi Adesina says the President remains committed to even-handedness and justice always. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has suspended the House of Representatives Minority Leader Ndudi Ilemolu and 6 orders for 1 month. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Kola Olagbodiyan, disclosed this at a media briefing in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Our Publicity Secretary says the resolution to suspend the House Minority Leader, Ndudi Ilemolu, and 6 others was based on issues surrounding the emergence of the minority leadership in the House, pointing out that their conduct border on indiscipline, insubordination and disobedience of party directives, contrary to Section 58 of the PDP Constitution.
And this matter is hereby referred to the National Disciplinary Committee of our party, in keeping in line with Section 57(3) of the PDP Constitution.
Meanwhile, a statement from the House Minority Leader Ndudi Ilemolu expresses shock that the NWC of the PDP can sit and take a decision without giving room for fair hearing. Another suspended House member, Wale Oke, in a similar statement says it's unfortunate if their party could suspend its most loyal members for towing the path of honor and constitutionalism. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
The Presidential Elections Petitions Court has admitted in evidence the certified true copies of documents obtained from the Independent National Electoral Commission by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Atiku Abubakar regarding the conduct of the February 23rd presidential election. The petitioners in this matter through their counsel have so far tendered documents relating to the election in 7 states. Dele Atumbi reports.
The resumed sitting of the Presidential Election Petitions Court this Friday, counsel to the PDP and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, Libby Uzoku, SAN told the court of their intention to review the process of tendering their documents from local government to state by state to fast-track the process. Before this request, the PDP and its candidate have tendered documents for Niger and Yobe states. This request was not objected to by the counsel to the respondents, which are the Independent National Electoral Commission, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the All Progressives Congress. So far, the PDP and its candidate have tendered documents concerning the presidential election for 10 states. The states are Niger, Yobe, Katsina, Kebbi, Borno, Jigawa, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, and Kano. The documents tendered are from EC8C, EC8B, and EC8A, as well as the receipts for the certification of the documents. However, the petitioners did not tender any form EC8C for Bauchi State and promised to tender the remaining documents for Kano State at the adjourned date. Counsel to the Independent National Electoral Commission, Ustaz Usman SAN, objected to the admissibility of the documents. Counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari, Mike Ibokwe SAN, and APC Charles Edoson SAN also objected to the admissibility of all the documents tendered by the petitioners with the attachments which the counsel described as containing editorial judgments by the petitioners. Counsel to the respondents, however, said they will adduce reasons for their objections in their written final addresses. The PDP and its candidate have 10 days to call their witnesses, as agreed by all the council in the matter, while the respondents have 6 days each to call their witnesses. Counsel to the petitioners, Libby Uzoku SAN, had informed the court that the petitioners intended to call 400 witnesses in the matter. After the petitioners were through with the tendering of documents slated for this Friday, their counsel, Libby Uzoku SAN, applied for adjournment, which counsel to the respondents did not object. The 5-man presidential election petitions court led by Justice Mohammed Garba adjourned to Monday, July 8, 2019 for continuation of hearing of the PDP petition. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Away from the judiciary, President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to 3 bills passed by the National Assembly. They are the Federal Capital Territory Appropriation Act 2019, Federal Polytechnic Kaltungo Gombe State Establishment Act 2019, and the Federal Polytechnic Daura Katsina State Establishment Act 2019. Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters in the Senate, Ita Enang, comments further on the acts.
The bill provides for a total of 243 billion naira for expenditure by the Federal Capital Territory, and out of that, 130 billion is for capital expenditure, while the balance is for recurrent expenditure and sundries. This sum is in addition to the 23 billion naira which was provided for the capital expenditure of the Federal Capital Territory in the 2019 national budget, that is the 2019 appropriation law of the country, which Mr. President assented to on the 27th of May 2019.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President explained that the laws establishing the named polytechnics is in standard with the laws establishing all other federal polytechnics in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reappointment of Boss Mustafa as Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Malam Abba Kyari as Chief of Staff to the President. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, comments.
The President has approved the reappointment of Boss Mustafa as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, effective from May 29 this year. He has also approved the reappointment of Malam Abba Kyari as Chief of Staff to the President, again effective from May 29 this year.
The All Progressives Congress commends President Muhammadu Buhari over his reappointment of Malam Abba Kyari and Mr. Boss Mustafa as his Chief of Staff and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, respectively. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Issa Onilo, says the reappointment formally reiterates the determination of President Buhari to step up on the next level agenda. The APC notes with satisfaction the reaffirmation of the President's confidence in the duo. The National Executive Council of the Nigerian Labour Congress, on behalf of Nigerian workers, congratulates Boss Mustafa and Abakari for their reappointment as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chief of Staff to the President, respectively. A statement by the NLC President, Comrade Ayuba Waba, says, in the past 4 years, NLC have had a good working relationship with Kari and Mustafa in fast-tracking resolutions of critical labour issues in the country, particularly during the negotiation for the national minimum wage. It further says NLC has no doubt that the country has benefited and will continue to benefit more from their commitment to the successes of the present administration and the progress of the entire country. Ayuba Waba therefore commended President Muhammadu Buhari for their reappointment. Still with the presidency, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of 11 personal staff. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the new appointees are Mohammed Sarki Abba, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Household and Social Events; Ya'u Shehu Darazo, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Special Duties; and Dr. Shoaib Sanusi Rafindadi, Personal Physician to the President. Also appointed as the State Chief of Protocol is Ambassador Lawal El Kazauri. Sabiu Yusuf is the Special Assistant Office of the President, while Suli Yuguda is the Special Assistant on Housekeeping. Others are Ahmed Mohammed Mayo, Special Assistant on Finance Administration; Mohammed Hamis Usani, Special Assistant on Special Duties; Friday Bethel, Personal Assistant General Duties; Sunday Agazi remains State House Photographer, while Bayo Omorio Wo is the presidential photographer. The above appointment takes effect from May 29, 2019. This is the network news on NTA, live in Abuja. Let's take a break now. The news continues shortly.
Enjoy the best of African football as NTA, Africa's largest television network and hotspots, Nigeria's foremost sports production and marketing company, bring you all 52 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 live from June 21 to July 19, 2019. Yes, all 52 games will hit your screens in crystal clear digital quality. It's your guarantee of a memorable viewing experience and a wonderful cost-effective opportunity for corporate Nigeria to reach tens of millions of Nigerians. For sponsorship and commercial support, contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. Hot Sports, masters of the game. NTA, you can't beat the reach. Follow!
Kitty. Oh, baby. Leave him. He doesn't want overripe things. Dudu by nature. Black is beautiful. Oh, talk to the hand. The baby is black. AFCON. Uche, quickly send me the baby video.
Okay, ma.
Yeah, he's playing. Oh, my goodness. He's loving it. Oh, thank you.
Oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your #1 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
Our country is filled with people with different skills. And like the game football, we all have a position to play. Some are in charge of protection. They keep the line safe from attackers. They are the defenders. To win, we must come together as one team. We must play as Nigeria united.
Team huddle.
But we lost.
Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
The Apostolic Church Nigeria, Abuja FCT area, Launa territory, under the leadership of Pastor Dr. L.O. Oladele, Abuja FCT area superintendent, presents 21st Area Annual Convention. Theme, Believers' Disposition to the Grace of God. Date, Friday 5th to Sunday 7th July 2019. Venue, the Apostolic Church Nigeria, Abuja FCT Area Headquarters, Plot 494, Durumi District, Gariki, Abuja. Time, Friday 4 p.m., Saturday and Sunday 9 a.m. respectively. Pastor E. Ola Akerele, Convention Committee Chairman. Announcer.
Welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari departs Abuja Saturday for Niamey, Niger Republic, to attend the African Union Summit scheduled to hold on July 7th. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the President will participate in the 12th Extraordinary Session of the Assembly of the Union on African Continental Free Trade Area and the first Media Coordination Meeting of the AU and the Regional Economic Communities in Niamey. The extraordinary session of the Assembly of the Union is expected to launch the operational instruments of the agreement establishing prior to the summit. The Buhari administration had embarked on extensive consultation with stakeholders, culminating in the submission of the report by the Presidential Committee to assess impact and readiness of Nigeria to join the AFTA. The committee had recommended that Nigeria should sign the agreement, which aims to boost intra-African trade. President Buhari will sign the AFTA agreement on the margins of the AU meeting in Niamey. President Buhari will be accompanied to Niamey by the First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, Governors Babagana Umara Zulum, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, and Aminu Bello Masari of Borno, Kebbi, and Katsina State, respectively, among other top government officials. There is excitement over Nigeria's decision to finally endorse the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement at the first coordination meeting of the Regional Economic Blocs and 12th Ordinary Session of the Free Trade Initiative holding in Niamey, Niger Republic. Correspondent Makut Salman Macham reports.
The excitement over Nigeria's imminent ratification of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is understood from its standing as an economic and political giant on the continent. This is why the African Union is bringing for the first time the 8 regional economic blocs on the continent to work out how the free trade agreement will be facilitated for rapid economic integration. 13 heads of states are also meeting at this summit to examine the grey areas of the initiative. But by far, Nigeria's decision to endorse the trade agreement is the biggest news at this meeting.
There is a general excitement about Nigeria's accepting to sign the agreement. And of course, Nigeria being a big player on the African continent, whatever decisions they take, is a decision that will reverberate across the continent. Now, signing the Continental Free Trade Agreement by Nigeria is a big boost to the entire agreement, because that means that you are taking on board this large population, this large market, these large prospects of economic prosperity.
At a press briefing, the African Union Commissioner for Economic Affairs, Victor Harrison, cited the level of integration attained by ECOWAS under Nigeria's leadership as one that can be used as a model to actualize the African Continental Free Trade Area.
In pushing for the ratification of the African Free Trade Agreement area, the African continent is very much aware of the need to dot all the I's and cross all the T's to ensure that this agreement becomes a blessing and not a curse to the continent. This is because its production base is still very low, while its import volume is very high. From Niamey in Niger, Makut Simon Macham, NTA News.
Now, as Nigeria joins the list of countries that have signed up to participate in the African Free Trade Zones, questions are being raised on its preparedness to compete with other nations. This also takes into cognizance the economic shocks due to swings in oil prices, which have been a constant feature of the Nigerian economy. This formed the major focus when Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari gave audience to the Executive Director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Olusegun Awolowo, at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The meeting was for an update on Nigerians' plans for life after crude oil, which all along has been the administration's concern and reason for setting out to diversify Nigerians' export basket and create new sources of foreign exchange by developing the Zero Oil Plan, which is a core component of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. As Segun Awolowo, Executive Director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, says, we must be ready for this eventuality and build an economy that works with or without crude oil.
We should not rest on our oars because those days of $140 on oil is gone forever. So we have to look inwards and produce more. The Zero Oil Plan is about raising production and productivity. We identified 22 sectors where Nigeria can earn foreign exchange out of oil. We're hoping in the next 10 to 15 years, we're able to raise revenue, $150 billion from sources outside the oil. This is a government that is doing more with less revenue.
Also, the president gave audience to the governor of Gombe State, Inwa Yahaya, and that of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi.
Being in the same team with Mr. President will give him all the support to deliver on the mandate, be it in rains or in sunshine.
Certain recruitments are going on now, particularly with regards to the police. But we feel, in our humble opinion, that 10,000 men and women are not enough to add to the police in tackling the dearth of security agents in the country, that we would have to figure out a way to increase that number, either out of the end power cadets who are coming to the end of their service here, having spent 2 years, or youth service, corps members, or any of the other institutions that would enable us to boost the manpower of the Nigerian police force.
Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Nothing on teleprompter. Coming up tonight at 11 p.m. immediately after the network news is a documentary on Nigeria's signatory of the African Continental Free Trade Area. All NTA stations are advised to stay on the network service for the broadcast. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has stressed the importance of human capital development in all sectors of the economy, stating that Nigeria's growth potential depends largely on collective productivity. The Vice President was speaking at the 40th anniversary of Uni-Ife Economic Class of 1979, held in Lagos. Ruth Ario Samuel reports.
Re-echoing the need to ensure quality education from the foundation, the Vice President highlighted steps through which this will be achieved, stressing the need for girl-child education and a push for science, technology, engineering, arts and maths, STEM, and quality teacher education.
We are more focused on achieving the educational outcomes specified in the Sustainable Development Goals, such that we can meet the targets for school enrollment, which is very important, quality of education, adult literacy, and the quality of teaching. And the target is 2030.
Presenting a paper on sustainable alternative model for funding public universities, an education consultant and former World Bank staff, Chinedum Nwoko, suggested that a tripartite model, which will involve parents, students, and government, remain the best option.
Allow universities have the autonomy.
Propose a method of channeling public
allocations to universities that focuses on the beneficiaries of education service rather than the institutions.
The 40th Anniversary Reunion Symposium with theme Alternative Approach to Financing Public University Education for Effective Human Capacity Development in Nigeria is expected to be compiled for presentation to the President and the Ministry of Education towards preferring solutions to the challenges of tertiary education in Nigeria. In Lagos, Ruth Ario Samuel, NTA News.
Residents of Gajiram, headquarters of Ganze local government area of Borno State, have been warned not to harbor individuals with dubious character, but report such to the appropriate authorities. This came up when Governor Babagana Umar Zulum visited the area to address humanitarian challenges posed by insurgency. Mohammed Goni reports.
Gajiram, the headquarters of Ganze local government, has its fair share of security challenges in recent times. These include the closure of Maiduguri, Nganze-Mongono Road, which crippled socio-economic activities in the area, with heavy-duty vehicles conveying goods stranded along the road for days, causing shortage of essential commodities. The plight of the people was further compounded by restriction of movement within the township imposed as a security measure, resulting in near humanitarian crisis until the timely intervention by the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umara, who held a closed-door meeting with security operatives and community leaders on arrival at Gajiram town. Addressing the residents at the end of the meeting, Governor Babagana Umara sympathized with them over the humanitarian challenges, saying the authorities have resolved to relax the restriction of movement within the township to enable them go about their normal activities. He added that government is poised to protecting lives and property and the provision of basic amenities of lives, charging them to always be security conscious. The governor added that SEMA officials will provide them with some of their immediate needs to alleviate their sufferings and further enjoin them to be prayerful at all times. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Following a brief on incidents that triggered violence and loss of lives in Katsina State on Wednesday, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed immediate reinforcement of the security architecture in the state and prosecution of all those involved in the conflict. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President warned headsmen and communities to stop taking the law into their hands by resorting to violence at every provocation, adding that the headsmen returning to the south due to rainy season must respect the boundaries of farmers and villagers, while the communities must refrain from attacking headsmen. The President had, however, directed all security outfits in the state and in all parts of the country to work towards preventive measures rather than reactionary. Jennifer is in Lagos. She has an update on Ijegun fire explosion and another report. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jumai, and welcome to Lagos. Residents of Ijegun are still in shock over Thursday's fire incident, even as normalcy is gradually returning to the area. Paul Omukago reports that inhabitants are appealing to the authorities to effectively monitor and protect the pipeline tracks to avoid a recurrence.
The fire was eventually put out by officials of Lagos State Fire Service and other agencies at 4:40 p.m. after about 12 hours of intensive firefighting. The victims with varying degree of burns are currently receiving treatment at Lagos State University Teaching Hospital and Bagada General Hospital. Some children who were also affected are among those receiving treatment.
We rescued 12 people. 4 were taken through LASUT. I've got in touch with the CMD of LASUT, and he assured me that they are receiving adequate treatment. Also, 8 were evacuated to Burns unit at Bagada. However, I sympathize with the families that lost their beloved one in here. We recovered 2 bodies, and those 2 bodies were deposited at Yaba mortuary.
In the list of victims released, some members of the same family were affected. These probably could be those in some affected buses in the vicinity. The fire started at about 2 a.m. as a result of pipeline vandals siphoning fuel into tankers. In Lagos, Paulo Mukagu, NTA News.
Tecno has added an upgrade to its range of digital devices with the launch of the Tecno Phantom 9, an innovation aimed at giving customers a broader smartphone experience. Hingino John Adams, who was at the launch in Lagos, now reports.
That signals the official launch of the long-awaited addition to the Tecno Phantom smartphone series, Phantom 9. Its features are a reflection of Tecno's commitment to transforming state-of-the-art technologies into localized products under the guideline of Think Globally, Act Locally. Tecno Phantom 9 is designed for the pleasure of users with exciting features like an artificial intelligence triple camera, which has 16 megapixel, 2 megapixel, 8 megapixel, and 120-degree main camera that makes wide-angle photography possible.
We have a lot of features can make this stand out, such as a fast octa-core, which is 2.35 gigahertz.
When people looking at the appearance of the Phantom 9, people will fall in love with the Lapland Aurora design.
Other unique features of the device are in-display fingerprint, 6 GB RAM, 128 GB memory space, a battery that lasts a full day on single charge, as well as a drop screen dual front flashlight, which helps users take shots at night or in low light conditions.
We have a software, HIOS 5.0, that helps consumers to use different features at their disposal. For instance, there's the automatic detection of modes.
Established in 2006, Tecno has presence in more than 50 countries across the globe. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports with Jumai in Abuja.
Thank you, Jennifer. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has assured Nigerians and operators in the oil industry that the 9th Senate will conclude work on the petroleum industry bill. He gave the assurance when he granted audience to the management of ExxonMobil. Ignatius Unko reports.
As key to the reforming of the oil industry in Nigeria is one of the bills that has not been passed into law by the National Assembly. At this meeting, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, sought the support of oil companies in reforming the sector. He also advised oil companies operating in the Niger Delta to improve on their corporate social responsibility.
So we have learned our lessons from the previous experiences, and going forward, we intend to start work on the petroleum industry bill as quickly as possible. This time around, we would like to work very closely with the executive arm of government, those who will be implementing the bill.
Senator Lawan also met with the forum of former members of the House of Representatives, led by former Speaker Umar Galina Abba, during which he assured them of all-inclusive and stable parliament.
I feel that all of us are safe, but where there is a very unjustifiable deal, then we will always be there to ensure that the right thing is done, that justice prevails, and I can tell you that this is what the 9th Senate stands for.
The legislature, if anything, has the quality to unite this country.
The President of the Senate also granted audience to the Niger Delta Youth Forum, during which he also pledged legislative intervention in addressing challenges in the Niger Delta region. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
We'll now pause for some messages. NTA News continues in a moment.
Now me I go ask and say, why all of us go pay 100,000 naira? Say, cause say your husband, he want do 70th birthday. She now all of us marry up together. When her mama die, she collects money. Her papa die, she collects money. Her mama die, she collects. You remember when she talked, say she wanted her mama dead body. Mama, you too talk. Now you be glad when they dash me credit anyhow. Imagine, 40-year-old dead body. Why you they laugh now? Now, try to bring your money. Mama, no laugh. Not be you, Jerry. Now, some apropos customer there, when they know they mind their own business. Well, I never even begin to give you her gist.
Glow and Maple. Get 5 times your recharge to call all networks. Recharge with *555*PIN#.
Make her sell my market finish first, eh? I will call you back. Oh.
Glow Unlimited. Our country is filled with people with different skills. And like the game football, we all have a position to play. And the strikers, they are the go-getters. They break barriers and steal the show. To win, we must come together as one team. We must play as Nigeria United.
The National Council for Art and Culture wishes to inform stakeholders in the art and culture sector that the 49th edition of the National Technical Committee meeting on the National Festival of Art and Culture, NAFES, is scheduled to hold as follows. Venue, Heritage Hotel, Benin City, Edo State. Date, 8th to 12th of July 2019. Time, 10 a.m. daily. All commissioners of culture in the 36 states and all directors of culture, art councils and history bureau in the 36 states and the FCT are expected at the meeting. Announcer, Otumba Olusegun Rushewe, Director General, National Council for Art and Culture.
I thought leaving the country was the best decision for me and my future.
I left for a better life.
We were picked up by immigration officials and sent to a detention camp.
I spent 8 months in the detention camp.
There was no food, no water.
I saw people being beaten like animals.
Some women were raped. Some women were sold as slaves.
I thought I would never see my loved ones again.
I have made the biggest mistake of my life.
I have wasted all my savings.
I have to start all over again.
Migration is a human phenomenon which cannot be stopped. But if we choose to migrate, we advocate that it should be done in a safe, orderly, regular and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hot Sports, partners with the biggest, the largest and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Thanks for staying. In recent times, Nigerian students have exhibited remarkable performance in the ICT and science-related competitions, both in Africa and beyond. The latest has been the best team regionally in the 2018-2019 Huawei ICT competition and the 3rd globally in the routing and switching category. Joseph Johnson reports that the winning team were awarded by Huawei, with more Nigerian students encouraged to participate in the global event.
These are the faces of the Nigerian students who emerged among the top 3 winners in the global final of the Huawei ICT competition held at the company's headquarters, Dongguan, China. They competed with 49 other teams and 147 students representing 30 countries for the global trophy. But these smiles, warm handshakes and applause, signifying congratulatory gestures, are all for these young lads for acing the competition, thereby making their families and Nigeria proud. The accolades also went to Huawei for the attention paid to the program by not only focusing on the students, but also building the skills and capacities of universities and lecturers.
It's also important to point out that this year marks the 20 years of Huawei Nigeria. Within the period, Huawei has made progressive achievements through both collaboration with the public and the private sector in Nigeria.
Huawei are integral parts of Nigeria's ICT ecosystem. With your firm determination and joint efforts, I expect more and more solid progress in Nigeria's.
We are most appreciative to Huawei, particularly in their efforts in building capacity in Nigeria.
This competition to me actually has been a great life changer. It has inspired me towards achieving greater heights.
The program also served as launch for the 2019-2020 Huawei ICT competition, an ICT Academy signing ceremony between Huawei and National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. The MOU has risen hopes of renewed partnership that will foster ICT for inclusive, sustainable national development in Nigeria. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
About 107 internally displaced persons from Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states are good to go as entrepreneurs who will contribute to the socio-economic development of the nation. This was made possible by the training they acquired on the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Fair Chance Initiatives for the Northeast in collaboration with Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative. Simon Asha was at their graduation ceremony.
Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states over the years have been bedeviled with Boko Haram insurgency, which has resulted to extensive damages to socio-economic well-being of the citizenry. With normalcy and peace now returned to these affected states, empowering its teeming youths, women and children, among others, with lifelong skills for self-sustenance will no doubt bring respite and meaningful development to the nation. Therefore, rebuilding the Northeast through human capacity development is what Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has embarked upon for the past 3 weeks to equip IDPs in the Northeast region with various skills that will enhance their livelihood and that of their communities, hence this graduation ceremony.
The next phase of it is another 3 months of actually practicalizing what they've been taught and then helping them set up themselves in order to provide services to the community so that they can begin to earn income and take care of their families.
And so the oil and gas sector thought that it's important for us. We are the mainstream of the economy of Nigeria, and we should have an impact in this initiative of restoring and rehabilitating the Northeast zone. That's why this initiative came on board.
Various speakers on the occasion lauded the giant strides of NCDMB for the initiative, thereby bringing hope to the needy. High point of the graduation ceremony was an exhibition show as the products made by the IDPs were on display for sale to the general public. In Yola, Simon Asha, NTA News.
Let's now join Nura in Sokoto for more reports. Hello, Nura.
Thank you and welcome to Sokoto. As part of efforts to rehabilitate and empower vulnerable Nigerians, the federal government has donated farm implements and inputs to internally displaced persons in Gandhi town of Braba local government area of Sokoto State. Abrahamic Mission reports.
In recent times, bandits ravaged many villages in Sokoto State, which remains a source of concern and fear for many, especially those in rural areas. However, governments have done a lot to provide succor to victims who are mostly women and children. This time around, the federal government, through the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, is donating farm implements and inputs to those affected. by banditry in Raba local government area of Sokoto State. The items donated include fertilizer, herbicides, insecticides, and improved seedlings, with a view to assisting them return to farms.
Because their locality is farm and their target is farming. That is why we bring this item for them to stand on their own and farm.
So anybody we caught in the market selling, try to sell this one, we will take a legal action against him.
Members of the benefiting communities expressed appreciation to the federal government for coming to their aid. In Sokoto, Abrahamic Mission, NTA News.
The need for collaborative effort among relevant stakeholders to address moral decadence among students of tertiary institutions took center stage at a one-day sensitization campaign organized by a national orientation agency in Sokoto State. Shah Muhammad Datti completes the story.
Participants and other stakeholders at the campaign identified cultism, examination malpractice, and drug abuse as among the challenges confronting the nation's tertiary institutions. They find that morality, good character, and knowledge are what are impacted on the students. However, societal influence is leading them to such social vices.
This ugly scenario in high institutions, you find out that at the end we will have leaders that will not depend on. Leaders cultists, leaders with malpractices, corrupt leaders. How will Nigeria be in the future?
Everybody has his own part to play. The school authority has its own part to play in as much as students reside within the institution. And the larger society, both the institution and the parents, they have also a role to play in inculcating discipline in the minds of the youth.
High point of the campaign was paper presentations on the adverse effect of cultism in tertiary institutions, examination malpractice and its negative effect, drug abuse and its consequences, and irregular migration and trafficking. The focus on higher institutions was born out of the fact that it produces majority of workforce needed for the nation's economic drive. In Sokoto, Shah Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
That's it from Sokoto. Network News continues after these messages. Stay tuned.
With heavy hearts, we announce the death of Honorable Haske Francis Hanania, which occurred on Tuesday, 25th June 2019. The funeral arrangement is as follows. Friday, 5th July, corpse leaves National Hospital Abuja to Yola by air and then proceeds to Hong local government area for lying in state at General Hanania's residence. Time 7 a.m. Saturday, 6th July, funeral service at LCCN number 1 Hong and interment at Central Cemetery Hong. Time 10 a.m. Announcer H.A. Hanania for the family.
In this world anymore, I have...
Welcome back. Benin oust Morocco as Senegal also defeat Uganda to qualify for AFCON quarterfinals. Just as pundits advise Super Eagles ahead of round of 16 tie against Cameroon. Over now to Victor Azu for AFCON updates.
Senegal saw off hard fighting Uganda to qualify for the quarterfinals of AFCON 2019 ongoing in Egypt. Sadio Mane scored the only goal of the game for Africa's highest-ranked team, the Teranga Lions, in the 15th minute, only to miss a penalty he earned in the 61st minute. And Benin Republic became the first team to qualify for the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations. The Squirrels defeated Atlas Lions of Morocco 4-1 at the end of a penalty shootout. The game had ended in a 1-1 stalemate after 120 minutes of football, with Benin taking the lead in the 53rd minute through Moise Adelehu, only for Youssef En-Nesyri to equalize for Morocco in the 76th minute. Saibo Mama scored the decisive spot kick after Morocco lost two of theirs.
Mama for Benin to take them into the quarterfinals and create history once more.
Meanwhile, ahead of Nigeria's encounter with the indomitable Lions of Cameroon tomorrow, some football enthusiasts, including former Super Eagles head coach Samson Siasia, have been speaking on what to expect and how to overcome the defending champions.
We actually put ourselves in a very difficult position because if you have won the group now, you play the weaker teams. You understand? So, well, I guess the Cameroonians will wake us up. If we're in a slumber, we'll wake up and actually want to play because the time is you lose, you go home. So it's very important that you have to win the next game. I think the boys will come out and play. But we want to see players that will change the game, not just, the rhythm is just too slow. We don't have surprises, people making runs, playing the ball quicker sometimes. We are just playing like on a slow motion. If we actually want to win tomorrow's game, we have to change the way we play. And we have to be very aggressive. We have to create chances to score goals.
I think they are formidable foes, and we have a history between the two of us. They are the current champions, so it's not going to be easy. Beating Cameroon, it will be a very, very tough task because there's a rivalry, there's a history that makes everybody play extra. So it's going to be interesting, but of course for you to win the cup, you must cross such hurdles.
The match will be played at 5 p.m. Nigeria time in Alexandria.
Let's take a quick check on the weather prospect for tomorrow across the country.
In tune with the weather forecast for Saturday, people living in the southern parts of the country will likely experience a wet Saturday morning. However, those in the inland cities of the southeast will likely experience cloudy conditions. And to the central region, the Mambila axis, parts of Kwara, Niger, and Yelwa, Sokoto, Gusau, Kano, Katsina in the north are expected to experience morning thunderstorms. Progressing into the day, we expect respite in weather activities over the northwestern axis, while the northeast is expected to experience thunderstorms in the afternoon. For the central region, the eastern half of the central cities are expected to experience thunderstorms in the afternoon. Over the southern parts of the country, we still expect pockets of weather activities. Stand by for the temperature forecast. Thank you for watching. Bye.
And before we go, a quick reminder that a documentary on Nigeria's signatory of the African Continental Free Trade Area comes up immediately. All NTA stations are advised to stay on the network service for the broadcast. And that's Network News for tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Today, some private institutions are competing with some of the best.
Contemporary issues with personalities from diverse backgrounds.
We will pick our first 11 this year.
You have to catch all the thieves before you deal with the thief you have caught.
They talk to Cyril Stober. One-on-One, Wednesdays, 1:30 p.m. on NTA Network.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done.
When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
Join us on Baker's World every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
Social media is like a big notice board in the marketplace. What you put on it, everybody will see.
One major definition of integrity is that you should do the right thing even if nobody is looking at you.
At what point do we as a people stand still and say, no, we no longer want money to become that thing that determines who we choose as leaders?
We are 50% of the population, and I really feel that it would make a lot of difference, a big boost to our development if there were more women participation.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Africa, a land of diverse resources, people and opportunities.
Many women and children as the violence spikes in Burundi, and the United Nations warns that this number will only swell if the fighting continues.
Years of conflicts, political instability, corruption, and poor implementation of treaties and agreements have denied the continent its real potentials. Trade is an integral economic and social component of livelihood, and Africa has a huge history in this regard. The gross imbalance of trade between Africa, China, the United States of America, Europe, and parts of Asia have made countries in Africa net importers of finished goods and exporting mostly its raw materials. Intra-African trade is the lowest around the world, with only 15% of African export go to other African countries compared to intra-trade levels of 58% in Asia and 67% in Europe. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, is an homegrown initiative by the African heads of state. It is the flagship project of the African Union's Agenda 2063 and a key initiative in the industrialization and economic development of the continent.
What the CFTA is just an agreement that says, rather than have all these small economies that we have, 1 million here, 1 million there, 2 million here, of all of those, suppose we come back and we say 1.2 billion people instead of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Suppose we have that kind of market. Suppose we say, let us open up our borders. Too many borders that are over 80,000 borders around that are not very useful in terms of our interaction. People have to move from there to there. People have to sell things. So that is the basic way to let people understand how this impacts them.
Africa is a big continent, actually the second largest continent in terms of population, in terms of size. Okay, but unfortunately, we're not talking to ourselves business-wise. We prefer to get things at a highly exorbitant prices from the Western world, from China, from all the rest of the world, except talking to ourselves. That does not promote quality living for us. We're a low-income region, so we needed to close the gaps, make sure that we begin to be sensible. It will mean that we'll have to promote regional integration, which is at the moment lacking.
The Continental Free Trade Area is expected to bring together all 55 member states of the African Union, covering a market of more than 1.2 billion people, including a growing middle class and a combined domestic product, GDP, of more than $3.4 trillion. In terms of numbers of participating countries, the AFCFTA will be the world's largest free trade area since the formation of the World Trade Organization, WTO. The main objectives of the AFCFTA are to create a single continental market for goods and services with free movement of business, persons, and investment. It will also boost intra-African trade by about 52.3%, as estimated by the Economic Commission for Africa, thereby leading to accelerated industrial development of the continent. So far, 52 countries have signed the consolidated text of the agreement establishing the AFCFTA. Only 3 countries have yet to sign the agreement, namely Nigeria, Eritrea, and Benin Republic. Similarly, 24 countries have deposited their instrument of ratification for the full commencement of the AFCFTA. The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, in partnership with the African Union and other strategic partners, have organized fora at engaging with critical stakeholders across the continent.
Productivity means painful losses. When you produce too much, farmers are punished. When they produce too little, they're punished because the markets are not working. Bigger regional markets, expanding the playing field creates bigger supply chain. What you have to remember is Africa before colonialism there were no borders. You have to follow the traditional routes of grain trade, where it takes you from country to places, and we follow just basically the same old trade routes. And what the CFTA promises is to bring us back to those days where there were no borders or boundaries for traders to move.
These initiatives are to ensure that the technical issues are adequately examined to guarantee effective implementation of these agreements.
We need to ask ourselves, will a Made in Africa branding strategy be a useful one? It is very nice to have the individual countries, Made in Nigeria brand, Made in Kenya, proudly South Africa, Made in Ghana. That is very good. But would it make sense to have a Made in Africa branding strategy? Or would the sovereignty of the member countries take precedence over a continental branding strategy? I don't have the answer to this, and it's something I would like to get your thoughts on in the course of the conversation.
The fora organized by the Economic Commission for Africa have explored opportunities of engagement in specific sectors and relevant fields, namely provision of critical infrastructures such as roads, upgrade of facilities and operations at the ports, tariffs and custom levies, among others. The recently concluded African Trade Forum in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, had its focus on the pharmaceutical industry. Experts from around the continent gathered to brainstorm on the impact the AFCFTA will have on the sector.
Under the framework of the CFTA, we are talking about e-commerce, and we are talking about Africa producing a framework for e-commerce. We can actually go to these global platforms with a position that has been negotiated as a continent because we are negotiating the CFTA. So as we talk about the CFTA, we are actually beginning to have those conversations on more global issues, which allows us, as we go to those global platforms, to be able to talk with one voice. Something that I always like to talk about, which is particularly important, related to e-commerce, is intellectual property rights. The second phase of the CFTA discussions is going to be on intellectual property rights. This is very important, of course, for the pharmaceutical sector, but it is even more important for our youth that are developing new applications in the technology sector that need to ensure that their innovations are protected, that they can actually get to that pathway to prosperity with these innovations. And I think that having, first of all, an African conversation around intellectual property rights is particularly important in how we frame the conversation when we get to the global stage on intellectual property rights.
We also realized and have learned over the years of Africa's independence that the systems of trading that have been in place long before we became independent nation states have actually remained firmly in place and have given undue advantage to the dominant global multinationals and made it difficult for Africans to build big corporations and be successful. And this has been exacerbated by the fact that African countries for many years did not wake up to the idea of regional integration, of creating markets that allow scale, of created markets that are homogeneous in terms of regulation.
This is where trade agreements, the relaxation of trade agreements becomes beneficial to the pharmaceutical industry because the cost of exporting is very high if you've got tight trade barrier tariffs. Or importing your APIs, if those are expensive, it becomes very expensive to do this industry. And then what happens is that the Minister of Health will look at the cheapest tablet, irrespective of where it comes from, but that does not help the Horn, does not help Africa, because when you manufacture locally, and I will stress this, even if it will cost the country, say 10% more to buy locally than the tablet you are getting after flying 15 hours, it is much, much more industrially sustainable to buy locally because pharmaceutical industry is one of those industries that creates multiple industrial offshoots in all the industrialization. You've got your service providers, electricity, water. You've got other industries like the package manufacturers. You've got the regulators busy. You can employ part-time the lawyers, the doctors for your regulations. And therefore, by so doing, you keep a lot of industries in the country.
What we should be talking about in Nigeria is how to leverage our comparative advantage. In terms of number of manufacturers, we're up there. In terms of the quality of medicines that we produce, we're also right in front. 4 companies recently, in the past half a decade or so, gained the WHO certification for their factories. My institute was the first one of the first that got its ISO 9001 as well as ISO 17025. And these are very, very well respected international certifications. We're also one of the first to sustainably transit to ISO 17025 version 2017.
The prospects of job creation and youth empowerment were also highlighted at the Addis Ababa conference, where the issue of capacity amongst the youth was identified as integral to the success of the AFCFTA.
There has been so much promises for the youth, employment, fluidity in terms of you being able to move from your country of origin to other countries in Africa because of skills and all that. Do the African youth of today possess such requisite skill and opportunities that were provided in the CFC ecosystem? Do we have such requisite skills? And those are some of the things we'll be looking at in this session. Because it's not enough to get excited about the promises, the jobs, the large markets, and what have you. The people that will take advantage of those opportunities, are they prepared for those opportunities in terms of the requisite skills? And this is what this session will be looking at. So I'll come back to Mr. Johannes to tell us what are those things do we need as African youth to compete, to be relevant with all the promises and all the gains that we're looking at. Because it looks to me like we're planting a seed and already we are beginning to eat our fruit. Do we have the requisite soil and the manure to grow the seed of the CFCTA that was planted today? And the youth of Africa key into that future?
You really have to have comprehensive programs designed to make jobs available for a large number of people. And the number one issue is always enabling environment, whether it's self-employment or you're trying to attract, when you have a bigger market, attract investments, because the biggest challenge in creating these markets is attracting investments.
We need to begin to think about an education or training that is geared towards skill acquisition, proficiency, rather than just getting certificate out. And we have to go back to the drawing board, go back to the institutions that provide these educations and see how capable are they to actually provide the qualifications. Some of the universities, in my opinion, are obsolete. And the way they are constructed is too rigid for flexibility and innovation. So I think we have to go back and challenge the universities, give them tasks. The private sector, which are the beneficiaries of the product of the universities, needs to also be engaged. The private sector will need to interrogate the educational system and say, hey, why are we saying that our graduates are unemployable and we're all folding our hands? We need to do something to make them employable. In my mind, I think we need to be thinking about enterprise universities rather than the conventional ones. You see, a typical thing that happens in universities these days is the traditional thesis, chapter 1, introduction, chapter 2, literature review, chapter 3, methodology, and all of that, and people can copy and paste. But I'd like to see even one university that evolves as an enterprise university, that say, for instance, forget about the normal traditional setup of a thesis. Can we have a bankable project from your thesis? For example, you're in agriculture. Can we see how we can improve the yield of a particular product or improve the shelf life suitable for bank support?
There's also the movement of goods and services. You can now leave Nigeria and go to Ghana and work. If you don't like Ghana, you can go to Senegal. All of these things are going to be, they are exciting to any young person who says, okay, I've lived here all my life, I don't want to go to Europe because there's some good opportunity here on the continent.
As the most populous black nation in the world and the leading economy on the continent, Nigeria's signature and ratification of the AFCFTA will mark the most significant game changer for this noble agreement.
When countries raised some flag, whether it is red or yellow, against Nigeria to say, look, Nigeria have refused to sign the AFCFTA, some of us said, no. Are you sure you're not making a mistake? Because Nigeria wanted to look before it leaps. That's exactly what Nigeria was doing. And that's exactly what Nigeria is still doing right now. And of course, what we did, by raising our internal query, raising our internal concerns, raising our internal challenges, raising our internal worries, has now brought the AFCFTA to the main domot, in quote. And people now know more about it. Before the consultations and sensitizations that took place, 99% of Nigerians, quote me anywhere, never knew anything about AFCFTA. But today, it's almost becoming a household name. Why? Because of the noise that, people made. Why? Because of the things that we raised and put on the table. Why? Because we said, no, Nigerian president, you are there holding this government on trust. And we gave you that trust. You cannot betray that trust. You are therefore there to represent us. And representing us, you must not sign what you do not know, the benefit from the losses. It's important for us to, undertake a journey that leads to the final destination that is known. Not a destination that you do not know, that takes us to anywhere. It could be in the ditch at the end. Therefore, statistics, evidence-based studies and analysis are key and monumental to our progression. And that's exactly what we've done. What is the result? Today, you can see many countries are ahead in Nigeria now. Not even one country of all the 53 or 54 countries of Africa undertook the journey we took. They never consulted among their people.
We have done east to west, north to south, political and economic consultations in the country. We have rejigged our trade policy, and now there is a final process of putting it in a package that goes up to the president. But there's never been a reservation And I'm on record. There's never been a reservation by Nigeria on the AFCFTA. Look at the speech by Nigeria's first foreign minister and our first prime minister, 24th of May, 1963. The very first meeting of the Organization of African Unity. Nigeria made the case for the African Common Market. It had to take the OAU and the AU to 2012 to the 18th Ordinary Assembly to have a decision to move ahead with the AFCFTA. And only until Johannesburg in 2015 to actually launch the negotiations.
I believe that within the next couple of months, these things will be signed. I think we are so near it because many things have been addressed. Even government itself has done its own studies, and the results has not been a bad one. The Manufacturing Association did a study looking at trade trends in many African countries in order to see how Nigeria will fare. The result, I'm told that the study will be released very soon. So these things are converging now, and we are going to sign. When we sign, we will ratify. Then it will be left to businesses, the private sector, to see what is it that we can do to get an advantage, from CFTA.
President Muhammadu Buhari, a true Pan-African leader and one committed to the development of the continent, will no doubt lead the way and ensure that Nigeria takes its rightful place in the emerging economic ecosystem in Africa.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
I got the power. Power to the people, we the people got the power. Let's ride. I got the power.
I'm going to show you how to wrap a gift and make it look absolutely adorable. Here are some things that I got for wrapping the gift, like the wrapping paper, which I got from the supermarket, my sticky tape, which is always with me at home, And then some old hair clips that I just found just in case it's going to be useful. My adhesive, a cutter, the gift pack, my base, size of the gift. Obviously, we're going to use just maybe half of this sheet, so cut it in half. Remember, art is all about improvisation, so if you don't have a cutter, you can just get a kitchen knife and then just cut through, or a scissors. Place our gift pack right in the middle of the sheet. You lift. Make sure you have this sharp edge so that the wrapping will be very firm and tight. Then you lift. Here we have a very firm wrap. Make sure you fold it neatly so that you can have this surface very nice and presentable. When folding, try to always create a pattern. Like I just created a pattern with this silver edge. And you stretch, and then we'll begin to fold. Now this wrapping paper is going to be very interesting because we already have the lines, so we don't need to stress ourselves too much when we begin to fold and create the shape of the fan. Fold it this way, just fold it anyhow you want. Just make sure the end process is neat. So we can have something like this, and I bet you it's going to come out really nice. So your hand on it to dry it. If you feel a little bit lazy, you could just place anything. Like you could just place this on it and let it dry. I'm going to get this hair clip for my hair because I want to make the gift pack more personal. So I'm going to uncouple it and then attach it somewhere. You just personalize it doing this. You turn it around, and we'll still go ahead with the personalization process. So our butterfly is going to be somewhere. To check your 3D fabric paints to make sure the tip is open, because sometimes they get blocked, and when they get blocked, when you write, the writing gets wobbled. So, okay, that means we're good to go.
Today, some private institutions are competing with some of the best.
Contemporary issues with personalities from diverse backgrounds.
We will pick our first 11 this year.
You have to catch all the thieves before you deal with the thief you have caught.
They talk to Cyril Stober. One-on-one. Wednesdays, 1:30 p.m. on NTA Network.
This is the network service of the NTA.
You are welcome to Abrahamic Mission. Abrahamic Mission is a program to enlighten us about the two main religions we have in this country. The essence is not to compare and contrast, but to present it the way they are, not the way they ought to be. It is not to see which one is better or which one is good, but it is for us to appreciate ourselves and thereby promoting peace, unity, harmony within our dear country. My name is Imam Fuad Adeyemi. Joining me in the studio today is Pastor Joseph Oluseyimaloma. Pastor Joseph Oluseyimaloma is the chaplain of State House State House here in Abuja in the villa. Pastor, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Imam, and good evening to all the watching audience.
Thank you. Also with us in the studio is Dr. Umar Ruyanda Aliu. Dr. Umar Ruyanda Aliu is the Deputy Chief Imam, Uthman Bono Afan Mosque, Wusetu here in Abuja. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you.
We'll be together in the next 1 hour by the special grace of God, and I believe we will all learn one or two things with our discussion today. But before we commence the discussion today we want to be discussing a very important topic, which is the main thing that is giving us challenge in this country: leadership and trust. Leadership is something that we need if we want to progress, and not just leadership, sincere, responsive, and good leadership. But there's something that is unique in leadership. It is trust. But before we discuss that, let us pick the messages which we have received. But we want to thank those of you that have been sending messages to us. We have received hundreds of messages, text messages, WhatsApp. We thank you for that. Those your encouraging word, we appreciate what you have been doing, and we thank you for the way you have been doing it. Today I will start with Arinze. Arinze said, "Greetings to Imam and Pastor." He said, "This is the best program I have watched in NTA this year." He said his name is Arinze. Another one writes, "I listened to your program on NTA today, Sunday. The moderator, you highly excellent. Even the pastor and the imam. It's a program everyone needs not to miss. God bless you all." Another man wrote, he said, "Prince Okoli from Abuja, I am a Christian and must confess that this program is therapeutic as it portrays faith in action. Shalom." God bless our imam and pastor in the studio. This man writes, "Good evening, sirs. My name is Pastor Adenigbagbe Paul from Port Harcourt. You are really doing a very good work here. Please, I suggest that our religious leaders, both in mosques and churches, will play the video of this program to their followers. Once more, well done to you all over there." I think they are greeting you all. This man said, "I never watched NTA for 1 minute, but this program I have to watch to the end. I am Adamu Isa from Yola, Adamawa State." Say, "God bless you all." This one says, "Good evening, sir. This question is for my pastor. What is welfare offering? My name is Osakwe Festus from Benin City." Do you get the question?
I got it, sir.
Please, do you want to react to that?
I can quickly refer.
Okay.
Osakwe, thank you very much. Well, welfare offering by its name, it's talking about an offering or a collection that is taken to take care or do welfare for those who are in need, either for those who are poor, either to pay for school fees, either to help in accommodation. So by the name is welfare. Welfare is to take care of. And I believe the church is doing that because they want to ensure that there is a particular fund devoted towards that. That is just the simple
meaning of
welfare offering.
Welfare offering. Yeah. Okay. I think this one is a woman. I say idiot from Lagos. Sadaka, it is right to say, because we discuss charity and charity from both religion, and we look at tithe and sadaka and zakat. This woman said, "Idiot from Lagos, sadaka is voluntary, not mandatory on mankind, but why zakat is mainly compulsory on those who are rich and can afford to give others without being in debt, not the perspective most of Islam leaders gives to it now. So it's not every human being who are entitled to give zakat. Do you want to?
As she has rightly differentiated between the two, Sadaqah is voluntary while zakat is compulsory, which zakat, being compulsory, it must fulfill certain conditions, it must reach certain amount, and then must have been with one for a whole year.
Okay.
It is after that now you give out 2.5% of that amount, you give it out in appreciation to the Creator who has given you that as a custodian, because you are just a mere custodian of that wealth. So zakat is compulsory, which is annually given out, and it must not be necessarily be monetary. Zakat could be out of the farm produce, also animals like camel, cow, sheep and goats. Okay. When they reach certain number, then you give out one as mandated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You are saying giving, who takes it?
Yes, the needies.
I want to even ask the pastor too.
The needies.
Who are the needies, and who are those that are entitled to take this charity, either the tithe or the zakat?
Yes, when it comes to the issue of zakat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave us just like that. He identified 8 categories of individuals who are entitled to take or to be given this zakat that one had given out. In Surah 9, I can't remember the number.
60, verse 60.
Verse 60, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala identified those 8 categories of people. And he started by saying, للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل. This 8
Tell us now, you are speaking Greek.
Number 1 of them is one who is poor. One who is a needy. Okay. The scholars now decided to give a difference between who is poor and who is a needy. Somebody who is poor is a person who can afford what he could keep to maintain himself for a day. While the needy is one who cannot even afford that. He must go out to get his means of livelihood every day. I don't know whether you are getting my difference. The explanation. Then وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا, also those who are in charge of collecting this zakat, even if they are rich, for them to be contented, they should not be left out of taking something out of what had been collected. Because by the time you didn't give them anything, they are human.
Just go ahead.
There could be temptations. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself did not leave them just like
what the government is doing now. Those who are in charge of collecting salary, they have a special salary that has been given to them. If you are the one in charge of money, so that you won't be able to be split. Yes.
Those that are collecting tax, or those that are working in the financial institutions, so that they could not be tempted to dip in their hands into the treasury.
Okay. Pastor, collect
those who get it. Well, the poor or the needy, the widows, is there in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 5. And it distinguishes between some widows. He said the widows that are really in need, especially the ones that are aged, and those who are young can still marry. So then also in the book of Matthew chapter 25, it talks about I was sick and you visited me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was in prison and you visited me. So the needy, the welfare can be shown to families of prisoners who maybe because the father is in prison, there's no way they can take care of. Widows, those who are sick in hospital, those who are in the streets.
Those are the people that the tithe should go to.
Well, not the tithe, the welfare. But for tithe, according to the Bible, in Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, it says, bring ye all the tithe into my storehouse, that there may be meat in my house. The word meat there is saying that there will be resources in my house. The main reason for tithe is just to ensure that the running of the temple of God, the church, is maintained. In the olden days, they used to do a lot of sacrifice, Old Testament. So when they bring the tithe, like it's talking about, you bring your cow, you bring your ram, they do sacrifices every time. Abraham offered sacrifice. Definitely. The program is Abrahamic Mission. So there's sacrifice, the priest offers sacrifice morning, evening. So what they bring is what the priest use to offer the sacrifice. But in this time, we use money, ego, kudi, so the money has to pay electricity bills. There are people that clean the church, water bill, so it goes into that. It also pays certain things. Now you have to do signboard, you have to pay a municipal AMAC. So all those are what the tithe is used for.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, that is not the topic we are discussing. I just want clarification. This one says, this program is inspiring. Thanks to the participants and anchor. I'm a philosopher, diplomat, and journalist by training. My question is, what are the implications of the pretense that only two religions exist in Nigeria? I think nobody is pretending there are only two religions in Nigeria. What we are saying, this program, we call it Abrahamic. So it is a religion that follows the teachings of Abraham. And that is why the word Abrahamic comes in. It is not about all even the Abrahamic, but the two main, and we discover the challenges we are facing from those two, the same we have